Fun. This is the first time we've done a live, what are we doing?
We're doing YouTube Live on the Fallen State.
This is the first time we've ever done a YouTube Live on the Fallen State. So this is pretty cool. And so what I want to do is just welcome everybody to the Fallen State YouTube Live. I want to see how this goes. We should have some fun with this. We just wrapped up. By the way, my name is Jesse Peterson, and that's James.
Hey.
Hey. Remember
That's in grown-up hello.
Let me see.
Hi.
James, for those who don't know, is the radio producer, so he's just helping me out right now. Also, we got on some nice shirts, huh? You got to admit. Red and black, and then white. It comes in white, too. This is brand new merchandise for the Fallen State. And see the cups? Uh-huh.
Very nice.
It says, did you have fun? And they're going out the door like 90 going north. Everybody and their mama are buying them, and I say thank you for that. But anyway, welcome to the Fallen State YouTube Live. We just finished our 4th season. And to me, that's amazing. It's hard for me to believe that, excuse me. It's hard for me to believe that 4 seasons have gone by just like that. I don't know where time goes, but we just finished, and I want to thank you all for watching and subscribing. I don't take that for granted. All of us appreciate that here at the Fallen State. Thank you for watching, subscribing, and then telling other people about it. We're going to tell you how to get the merchandise too before this is over. So this is your chance to ask me questions about anything. You can literally ask me anything you want right now. All right, so I want to hear from you with your questions or comments about whatever's on your mind. We're taking questions live, and we'll answer some questions that have already been submitted to us. Some people sent them in advance, and so we're going to be answering those too. Some very good ones too that have already been sent in to us. So this is pretty cool. It kind of feels like the TV show, though.
Like the TV show?
Yeah.
Cool. Good. It's
the only
supposed to be the
difference is
TV
we're
show.
facing the cameras that way.
Right.
And so James is here to read your questions, and so that I can respond, or comments. All right, so that I can respond to them. All right, James. So I guess we can go for it. Go
All right.
Far away.
All right. Here's one question from Sherrod. Why are you so hard on women?
Well, I'm not hard on anybody. I'm hard on evil. And that's a very good question, too. I appreciate you asking that. But I'm hard on evil. Our battle is not between men and women, black or white. It's good versus evil. So I want to point it out when I see it in men, and I want to point it out when I see it in women, because it wouldn't do us any good to just point it out. If men are doing it, but don't deal with the women, you got to clean up the whole house instead of half of the house. So I'm not hard on women at all. It's the spirit that I'm dealing with. And I think what the problem is that we're not accustomed over the last 60 years to correcting women. And we've been told that if you correct the woman, you hate the woman, or you this or that about the woman. And women need love too. They need correction, and correction without resentment is love. And when these folks get married and they have children, if you don't deal with the anger in the mother, it's going to screw up the lives of the children. If you don't deal with it with the father, it's going to screw up the lives of the whole family. So that's why I deal with it. It's not the person itself, but the spirit that I deal with.
Mike is asking, why are women so angry?
Well, I guess I should say not all, but most. They're angry because their fathers and mothers have failed them when they are growing up in the homes. The father is not the head of his wife and family, and he's turned his household over to the woman, and it's too much for her to deal with on her own. And so the mother ended up taking her aggression out on children, her resentment for the weak father, the anger that she already has that came from her mother. And so they end up taking it out on the children. And a lot of women are have not been told that they need to forgive. And so they keep, overreacting to the stresses in life, the issues of life, and they get worse and worse and worse because they are not forgiven. They have been told that it's the man, but they have not been told that they need to forgive too. So it starts in the home due to weak men and angry mothers, period. Though I do want to add, though, those women who have been raised with two good parents, a father and a mother together, you're not going to find that type of anger in them because those girls grow up to be women who love their earthly fathers. And when you love your earthly father, you love God. And when you love God, life is easier. Thank you.
I have somebody, Mike is asking again, when will the next season start, Jesse?
The next season starts June 7th. June 7th, so next month. I'm looking forward to it. And by the way, we've already recorded several shows, and I have to tell you, they are amazing. I like it because each season we're getting better and better at what we're doing. So look out for it, all right? Make sure you look out. The one thing I do want to tell you is that I can just put it out there now, and I will be able to remind you later as we move forward. Be sure to click the bell on the subscribe button. That's something new. Did you know about that?
I know about that, yeah.
Tell them about it.
Okay, so not only do you subscribe, I'm sure many of you YouTubers know about this, but not only do you subscribe to The Fallen State, but you also click the bell to get notifications.
Right.
If, say, you have a smartphone and you have the YouTube app, if we upload a new Fallen State episode or we go live, you should get a push notification on your phone as long as you have that allowed on your YouTube.
Yeah, so be sure to do that, all right? Don't forget. Click the bell so you get the notification. Okay, also, what else? Well, thank you for explaining that.
You're
you
welcome.
Notice how James almost said, when Jesse upload, I never upload. I don't even know how to start doing upload.
Yeah, you just talk.
Right.
All right, so this person, Laurie, is asking, what's your opinion on BLM, Black Lives Matter, in the UK?
Black Lives Matter, I've said this before, and I still say it. They are a far-left, liberal, radical, agitative organization that's built of black lesbians, black homosexual men, and white social justice liberals. And they are worse than the KKK. And so as they are here, the same as they are in the UK, they are an evil organization. They are out there promoting evil. They're not for the good. So don't believe anything that they're saying because they can care less about black lives. If they cared about black lives, they would be in Chicago right now insisting that the police do something about drugs and gang violence to give the good people a chance to breathe and start their lives. But they don't care about, I believe, about anybody but themselves. I believe that they're being paid too to do, because when I look at them, they don't have any money, do they? They look poor.
I don't know. They're not that poor.
They look poor. They got their hair done.
Yeah.
But I believe they're paid by George Soros and others to do what they're doing. I can't imagine any of those folks having that kind of money to travel around the country at such a fast, they're always right where the mess is. So I believe they're paid to do it. They don't know what they're doing.
Or they work for the government.
Yeah.
Like DeRay worked for the government. And then he was a school teacher. And then they gave him leave. He was not a school teacher, but he worked for a school. And he was given leave to go protest in Ferguson.
Meaning that he was allowed to take off work. Yeah. I've interviewed some of them, by the way. Some of you might know on the Fallen State TV, as well as my radio show. And they ran. They put their tails between their legs, and they ran. One guy held on the TV show, but they ran. They're cowards. They are really cowards, so don't worry about them. We just have to stand up to them.
Okay. Meshugapeth asks,
Miss Sugarpath?
Meshugapeth.
All right.
Some consider racism when you judge and hate someone because of their race. If we go off that definition, isn't there a lot of evidence that blacks are racist against white people today?
Well, first, there's no such thing as racism. I want to clear that up. It's a made-up lie, and it's made up by the children of the lie in order to distract you and control you. I have a problem. I have a battle. It's a spiritual battle. It's a warfare between good and evil. You either hate or you love. And these people are hateful folks. And the blacks who are against white folks, they're not against them simply because they're white. They're against them because they have been made to judge white Americans. And so they're angry at them and they hate them. And it's all about that. It's not because, oh, they just saw a white person with white skin. They judged a human being. In the same manner that the same thing happens when you judge a family member. A man and a woman can be married and then of the same color, black or whatever, and they can become angry. Once they become angry at the other, it changes the whole perception of that person. All of a sudden that wife looked like an enemy to the husband, or the husband looked like an enemy to the wife, who may become angry. So it's about a spiritual thing, and it comes from ego. It comes from judging your fellow man. And that's what blacks have done to white folks. They've been lied to, and they're judging white people, and that's why they hate him, or hate them.
Mikey, 22LR.
So racism does not exist, and I write about it in my book, The Antidote, Healing America from the Poison of Hate, Blame, and Victimhood. Check it out. I prove that racism does not exist.
All right, Mikey, 22LR asks, why does God allow the devil to have so much influence on human beings?
Well, that's a really good question.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that a cool question?
Yes.
What do you think about that?
Well, it's kind of like what you've said is where once we've crossed over away into losing our innocence as children, we're free, and we become more and more debilitated as we become adults, or young adults at least. And Satan becomes our father, and then so that's why he's totally influencing us.
And to add to that, God does not allow it. He's already given you authority over Satan. It's just that you are operating from your ego and you don't know you have authority over Satan. Because you're blind and have not repented, you have not returned to your natural state of being. Satan has no power. The only thing that he does is lie to you and deceive you, and you carry out the destruction. He doesn't carry it out at all, but it's you believing in him rather than in God, and you believe his lies. But he's already set it up. God has already made it possible for us to overcome evil. But you must forgive so you can return to your original state of being, which is the state of God, his nature. Then you can defeat the devil because he will not be able to deceive you. He's a deceiver. He's a lie. He pretends to be tough, but he has no power at all. Isn't that amazing that Satan really has no power? But he can fool you. He can trick you to make you think he has power, and then you carry out his stuff.
But the deception is so persuasive. Like, it's hard to break away from that.
It's not hard if you have overcome your anger so that you can see. Angry people cannot see, so it's not hard when you overcome your anger.
But it's so tempting to stay angry.
Right, and that's what he does. He tempts you. He makes you believe that anger is good. Even, there are people who tell me all the time that Jesus was angry. Now you know the devil played a trick on you. Anytime you want to justify anger, that's your father, the devil. But he has no power. He really has no power at all. He can only deceive you, make you hate someone, and then you do the rest.
Okay, I have a question from Cygnus Video. What do you recommend for times when life feels boring and meaningless?
Oh man, what a good question.
Yeah.
When life is boring and meaningless, that's the best time in life. So what I recommend when you're feeling that way, relax in it, and that's when you start to see things, you start to overcome, you discover what you like doing in life. So many things happen. Those are your growing pains. But what happens is everybody likes to feel that they're important, that they are God, that they are something, you know. So they're always using distractions to keep themselves from realizing that in reality you're nothing and you know nothing, right? And so when you don't have those things to distract you from that, you start to realize that you really are nothing and you're not in control of anything. So when those times come, welcome those times. You want to do that. As a matter of fact, I recommend that when you're alone, riding in your car or you're at home, turn off the radio and turn off the TV. Don't answer the phones so you can experience those quiet moments that causes you to realize that you are not God. And it's in those moments you get to know God and then you can live. A lot of people think those down times are bad. Some people commit suicide when they feel that way because they're so convinced that they're important. Nobody's really important. It's all ego. So welcome those times when they come. It reveals who you really are. And that is you're nothing or nobody. Isn't that nice?
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
Do you do that?
Very rarely.
You don't like those times?
I mean, I don't. It's not that I don't like them. I just don't. I just don't stop long enough to go through them.
I have a friend who, whenever those moments come, when he has nothing to do, there's nothing to do, no music, nothing is on, no gospel music or anything, they go nuts. They start running around looking, trying to find something to do. And they were telling me that they go to the store, they have to find something to do because they don't know how to handle that reality that comes when you don't have any distractions at all. And I told them, I said, you know what, that's the best time in life. When you can go through that, be still and know God, that's when you start to wake up.
I have a question from Mike again. Are you married, Jesse? Any kids?
I have one son that I unfortunately had out of wedlock. He is married and he has 2 children, and his daughter is married and she has a little boy. So I'm a grandfather and a great grandfather. So yes. But never married. I had mine out of wedlock. You know, I grew up thinking that I was going to get married. I wanted to get married at 25. Well, I wanted to buy a home at 25, and I bought the house. And then I wanted to get married, but it didn't work out. And I wanted to have 10 children. And I wanted 10. Mm-hmm. But it just didn't go that route. So, and I had it all in me. I really wanted to have a big family because I came from a big family. But no, I'm not married. Been engaged twice, but never married.
Logic Dominates Hate asks, would you please elaborate on the belief of quote-unquote free will?
It doesn't exist. Anyone who thinks that they have a free will are blind and can't see. And you can test this. You can prove me wrong, even though you won't be able to. You will not be able to prove me wrong, but you can try. You know how you do things that you don't want to do? You eat food that you don't want to eat, or you do things that you say, you know what, I can't believe I did this. That's crazy. Why would I do something like that? I'm never going to do it again, right? And so you go for a few days or a week, and then the urge come again, and you find yourself doing the same thing over again, and even telling yourself, while you're on your way to do it, you're telling yourself, I'm not going to really do it. I'm just going to do a little bit of it. I'm just going to look. You know, you tell yourself, you lie to yourself, and you end up doing the same thing over again, and you can't believe it. Wow, why am I doing this? I could give you an example. Before I got control of my life, I loved ice cream. It was my drug of choice. And so what I would do, I like black walnut. Do white people like black walnut ice cream?
I didn't know it existed until you talked about it.
Wow, isn't that something? John, you like black walnut?
Never had it.
Never heard of it. Another white man, the engineer, never heard of it. You heard of it, Kelly? Another white woman. Why the white women? So white people have not even heard of black walnut?
We've heard of black walnut, I think, but just not the ice cream.
Oh, just not the ice cream.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We used to have walnut trees, walnut farms.
It's so good.
Okay.
But I used to get black walnut, and sometimes I would buy nutty coconut ice cream too, something like that. It had a lot of stuff in it. And then I would go home, and I would put about a strawberry pop, and I would pour that into the ice cream. And then I would put some...
That's soda for the
Right.
for the West Coasters.
What?
Strawberry soda. You called it pop.
Oh, yeah.
The people on the West Coast don't know that pop means soda.
Oh, yeah, it does. And I would pour it in the bowl with the ice cream. And then I would put cookies in there, chocolate chip cookies. And man, I would go sit down in front of the TV. It was heaven. And I got so fat. And then I thought, well, I'm going to stop doing this. And then I stopped doing it for a while. And then the urge come back again. And by this time, I have no ice cream in the house, right? So I said, well, I don't have any, so I'm not going to do it. And then that thing said, you know what? Just go and get you 1 gallon or something. And, you know, just eat a little bit. I'm like, no, no, no. And then I found myself on the way to the store. And on the way to the store, it's a half a gallon, right? Then it comes. On the way to the store, excuse me, I'm telling myself, well, I'm going to get a little one. I get to the store and I see all this ice cream, and I get the big one and I get 2 of those. And I'm thinking, wow, I cannot believe it. So if I had a free will, then I would be able to will myself not to do it. But it wasn't me doing it. It was something that made a home in me, and it caused me to do the things that I did not want to do. And as soon as I realized that, I stopped punishing myself. I stopped believing, judging myself for it. And that's when I got a hold of the ice cream. Now I can take it or leave it. It's amazing too, it just fell away, and it has no control of my life because I don't have the anger anymore, so I don't have the conflict. And so I don't need anything to escape the conflict because I've been made whole, and I have perfect peace, and I feel like I have everything, like nothing is missing. So I don't need the ice cream or all that junk. So we do not have a free will. So here's what I want you to do. If you think you have a free will, stop doing those things that you wish you didn't do and see what happens. You can test it. All right, and you'll find out you do not have a free will. I don't know who came up with that lie, but we don't have a free will.
All right. Marie W. asks, is there any value to women's intuition?
Is there any values to women's intuition?
Is there any value to women's...
What's a woman's intuition?
You know how there's people who use the phrase feminine intuition, like women can sense stuff, sense something wrong, or sense something. They have an intuition about things. Is there any value to that intuition?
Yeah. I mean, yes, it is. I know what you're talking about now. Women can sense when something is not right. They can pick it up. So yes, that could be valuable if used in the right way. If it used to help rather to destroy, yes, there is value to that. I know a person who is married, and his wife works with him, and she can tell when the employees are not being honest or being deceiving or stealing or lying. It's like, for some reason, she seemed to pick that up. And the husband said whenever he listened to that, he found out that she was absolutely right about that. Whereas sometimes the husband doesn't pay a lot of attention to that because men tend to forgive and not really look for the trouble in you. And so yes, there's value to that, absolutely.
Post Neutrino is asking, do you support the creation of a white preserved state for whites who wish to peacefully opt out of forced integration?
Wow, what a nice question.
Yeah.
A white state with nobody there but white folks?
White preserved state, yeah.
Only if I could go. Can I live there? If I can live there, yes. If I can't, then no. I think, let's say that white folks, like, you know how white people live in the suburbs and they live behind fences, they go out and they buy their homes, they create their own environment, they create their own community because they want to get away from the mess. I think they have a right to do that. And I don't think that the government or anyone has a right to impose another race or culture on that group of people, because I thought it was wrong when they did the forced busing during the civil rights movement and when they forced the white community to let people into their communities. I thought that was wrong because you can't make someone love you. You have to love voluntarily. And it has not worked out very well because whites have been imposed upon. And if they don't do what the government says, then they're called racist, they're sued, they're called all kind of bad names. So if white people want that, it's fine with me. You have the right to do what you want to do. And the government doesn't have a right, or anyone else have a right to force you to change that. It's up to you. So yeah, it's fine. Louis Farrakhan wanted that.
For the blacks?
For the blacks. Mm-hmm. He wanted a state just for black people only. Can you imagine what that would look like?
Don't they already have that, Liberia?
Don't we already have that? Chicago, South Side. But yeah, I have no problem with that at all. That's fine.
All right. Jade Wheeler asks, well, he says, I'm white, or she asks, I'm white and I have a biracial daughter who has chosen her black side and thinks I'm racist. Any suggestions? Church isn't an option. She won't go.
So she's married and she has a biracial daughter?
It doesn't say that she's married or not married. It just says she has a biracial daughter.
You know, if we all were sane and didn't have an anger in our hearts toward anyone, interracial marriages and relationships would not happen. Black men and white women and Chinese and whites and Mexicans and would not come together. It's an abnormal coming together and it's due to some kind of trauma. And it's too bad that that's happening, because what happens is you end up having biracial children, and it's hard enough on kids as it is. And so now they have to deal with, which race do I belong to, you know? And they're told that, first of all, if they're black and have a white mother, they're told that they're black first. And the kids go into this black world, and when they get there, then they're resented by other black people because they have white hair, you know, and they look like white folks. And so it's really hard on the kids. I think that parents should not be doing that. I understand why it's happening, because you should consider what will your kids have to go through. And the reality is we have good and evil on this earth, and they're going to have to deal with that. And now that your daughter is here, what do? You just teach her that it's not about her color at all. It's about her character. And tell her not to identify with any race. Just live her life. You know, live her life and get along with the people that she get along with and forget about those that she can't get along with. Don't identify with what is good, not what color you are. It's a mistake to do that anyway. She's never going to be happy. So, you know, apologize to her for bringing her into a world that way. And just tell her, don't identify with groups. Don't identify with colors. Just identify with what's right and live that way. And that way she has a chance to be happy. So don't let her hang out with the blacks or the whites. Just let her be herself. That makes sense, right?
Sounds like it to me.
Because once you identify with the color thing, then you're locked into that.
Yeah.
And in the white world, it's not going to work completely. In the black world, it's not going to work. But if you just do what's right, love what's right, identify with truth, you'll be fine. And stop having those babies like that.
All right, King Phoenix asks, why do you say don't quote the Bible when people debate you on those issues, but I have seen you quote the Bible to prove your statements?
Well, you know, one of the reasons I tell them stop quoting the Bible, because you have people who are like really into the Bible. and they don't speak in a normal way. They don't say, well, blah, 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 and then maybe throw in a scripture once in a while. But when you're dealing with people who are just into the Bible, and all they do is just quote one scripture to another one to another, you can't have a conversation with a person like that. That person is insane. They don't respond to anything. They just go from scriptures to scripture, and it's all intellectual knowledge, which is evil. The knowledge of good and evil. They were born into sin, so they know evil. So they study the Bible, and then they know good. They know about good, right? And so they just use that. And it's intellectual knowledge, and it's of their father, the devil. And you absolutely cannot communicate with them because they will not communicate. It's okay to throw it like I do. Like when I'm debating or talking to people, I remind them that they're of their father, the devil, and that if you say that you're born of God and you still sin, you're a liar and the truth ain't in you. It's not in you. And then they say, well, the Bible doesn't say that. And then I'll throw in that scripture where the Bible says it. But then I move on. I don't go back to another scripture and another scripture and another. That's dumb. And so that's the reason I tell them to be quiet, because you're literally not going to get anywhere. Children hate parents who do that. Parents who do that, who just quote scriptures when it's far away from their hearts. Jesus didn't go around just quoting scriptures, did he?
I mean, he did from time to time, but he didn't go around doing it.
When you sat down and Jesus was like, what's wrong? Why are you here? Well, I'm here because I heard that if I can touch the garment of yours, I could be healed. He didn't say, well, 1 John chapter 3, chapter 4 said, and then you say, well, what does that mean? Well, Corinthians chapter 9 said, and then, well, can you heal me? Well, you didn't say, he didn't just quote scripture. He said, your faith has healed you.
Yeah, he spoke with authority and people.
Yeah, he didn't quote all these scriptures. This is intellectual knowledge that's not good for the soul. So cut it out. You cannot communicate with those folks. It's boring.
All right, Esteban asks, why can't I stop smoking pot? Is it because I secretly still desire it and can't see why I should stop? Thanks, my friend.
You're still smoking it because it is good.
All right, next question.
No, I'm kidding. Can I cross my leg?
Yeah, it's not that gay.
Is that right? Is that fine, Kevin? You're smoking it because it is something that you picked up when you were in sin. You had so much conflict. And so in order to get rid of the conflict, you start, smoking weed, having sex, and doing all those things. And so now the way to overcome it, when you smoke it now, have no opinion about it. Don't judge it as good or bad. Just watch yourself smoking the weed. All right? So here's what I want you to try the next time you smoke a joint. You ever smoke weed?
Yeah.
You look like a pothead. You smoke weed?
Yes,
you don't look like you would smoke weed.
I wouldn't normally.
Well, why did you?
Peer pressure.
Oh, they made you do it?
Yeah.
So here's what I want you to do. The next time you do it, wait until the next time. Go to your weed bag, pause for a second, and then be aware of yourself opening up your weed bag. And then take some out. Be aware. Don't go into your head and your emotions about it, all right? Be aware of yourself. Just, put it in, however you do it. I think you put it on the paper on your hand.
You think?
You put it in there, and then you be aware of yourself. Put it in the bag, your little paper that you're going to smoke. And then be aware of yourself. You lick it. And then you roll it up. And that's how you do it there. So be aware of yourself rolling it up. Don't go into your head about it until you get the gut feeling. Be aware of yourself rolling it up, and then be aware of yourself lighting it, and be aware of yourself smoking it. Because the moment you take that hit, you go unconscious, and you feel good with the weed, you feel relaxed, you feel like all is well. Well, don't go unconscious. Be aware of yourself doing it. And the awareness, which is God light, shining through you would cause you to lose the desire for it. And then one day you would go to that bag and you wouldn't want it. You have the strength to walk away from it because the light of God has killed the appetite that was in you for it. So don't try to force yourself to quit. Just become aware of yourself doing it. Just stay aware rather than going unconscious. It's like, you know how God said when you eat and drink to thinking of me. Eat and drink to remember and not to forget. So when you get ready to eat, if you do the same thing with your food, you're aware of yourself eating, you're eating and you're not unconscious, you don't eat as much and you eat the right kind of food because it doesn't have that control over you. So just stay conscious. Don't be mad about it. Don't judge yourself. Don't become frustrated. Because if you become frustrated by it, then you're going to do it more and more and more because you've judged yourself. Like, oh my God, why did I do this? I hate myself. I thought I was free from this. Don't do any of that. And the devil's going to try to get you to do it. Don't do it. Just let it all pass. Let it work itself out. And God will take care of it. But just don't take it personally. It's no big deal. It's really not a big deal unless you make it a big deal. But it's a very good question.
Iridium asks, how have things come to this in our society where every bad behavior is excused or has become an entitlement? I know the media promotes this idea, but how do we change this around?
It became this way because men are weak. And what we have to realize, as I said, that our battle is a spiritual battle. And there's a spiritual order to life. God in Christ, Christ in man, man over woman, woman over children. The man is the Christ in his family and on earth. And if the Christ which bring the love into the family, which bring correction into the family, which set an example how to deal with life in the right way, and if the Christ is not there to protect his wife and children and guide them, if he leaves or if he's weak, then the wife and children are left open so that the children of the lie can take over their lives. And they become corrupt as the children of the lies corrupt. And so that's why it's happening. Men are not in their proper state of being. And whenever the man is out, destruction comes. So what we have to do is, what we're doing at Bond is showing men how to turn back to God, to their natural state, their original state of being, so that they can be the Christ in their families and on this earth. And so in the meantime, what we should do is work on men, get them to forgive so they can return back to their Father. And then women need to do the same thing. And when you do that, then the strength and the insight will come. Then we should start, fighting evil with truth, and things will start to change. Because good can overcome evil if you're living it, if you are a living being. So we got to tell the truth about it. We got to deal with evil. Don't be afraid to stand up and tell the truth, and things will start to change. But you got to first return to God, to your original state of being, so you have the power and authority and insight to deal with evil whenever you see it. I mean, it's just crazy how parents are turning their children over to all of this madness in the world. And it's because the fathers are not there to protect the women and children. That's why it's happening.
Mikey 22LR says, Jesse, in order for quote-unquote mainstream churches to accept your message, won't they have to deconstruct the classic message they've been preaching in their churches?
Yes. They need to be born again. And I'm not necessarily preaching to the churches. I'm looking for that one man or woman that's looking for the truth. I'm not trying to reach the massive, because I know for a fact that majority of people are not going to get this. Even Christ said, only a few will see that straight and narrow path. And so when I hear one person or see one person who will awaken, I feel like all the angels in heaven are rejoicing over that. So I'm trying to reach the one individual person who is looking for the truth. I was counseling with a 14-year-old the other day. He was in another state. His mother set it up where we can counsel. And, he growing up without his father, he feel, like kind of lost and helpless in life. And he's irritated at his mother and just out of it. And a friend of his had been killed this past weekend. He committed suicide, another 14-year-old. And so I'm counseling with this guy. He like all out of it, just when we first started out. And by the end of that session, the light came on in him. And he was bright and asking good questions and just blown away by it. And so I asked him in the end, did this help you? He's like, yes, it helped me. And I asked how. He said, you have made me strong. I knew I needed my daddy. I know I need my daddy. But you have made me strong. And so that's what a father's supposed to do, is to protect their kids and guide them and wake them up. So it's those kind of people that I'm looking for, those who are looking for the right way, not the masses. And the preachers are the worst ones because their egos are built up. They have learned the scriptures. They have congregations who are worshiping them. And there is no way on earth or heaven that they're going to give up that ego. They're going to give up that kind of power. So I'm not trying to reach the church. I'm trying to reach the individuals.
I think My Woodworm was his name. What's the best way to get over trauma?
Is to forgive. You have to apologize. Whomever traumatized you, you have to apologize to them for being angry at them for what they have done to you. And once you truly apologize, you realize they couldn't help it. Yes, it was wrong. They couldn't help it. In that very instant, it's done. And it would be as though you have never gone through it. It would be as though nothing ever happened to you. Because when you go through traumas, the body heals, but the soul doesn't. And the reason the soul doesn't heal because you don't forgive. But once you forgive, then the soul heals, and now you're free. So you gotta forgive. There's no other way out. No, I don't care what it is, whether it's rape or beat up, someone beat you up, or you have bad parents, or you got beat up by Black Lives Matter, or whatever it is. Once you forgive, then God will forgive you, return you back to your original state, and you'll be free. But that's the only way it's going to happen. It's not going to happen any other way. Forgive, and you shall be forgiven. And when you forgive, don't go to the person and say, oh, can you forgive me for being angry at you? Do not do that. It's not set up that way, and that way will not work. You go to them, and you apologize to them for hating them, being angry at them, and then God will forgive you. Because most people are not going to forgive you if you ask, can you forgive me? They're not going to do it because they like that control over you. That's why God has it set up, is if we apologize for hating someone who traumatized us, then he will forgive us. No other way out, you got to forgive. Before you enter into the kingdom of heaven, you must forgive. All right? Good question. I like that.
Bixby LBC asks, Jesse, why do you believe anger is not a valid human emotion? Toddlers get angry and they know nothing of the devil.
But it's the devil that makes them angry. It's their fathers and mothers, most of the time the mothers, who make them angry. They're not born angry. They resent the pressure that comes from their mothers because kids are innocent. They don't hold stuff at all. But then once the mother put her pressure on them, or grandmother, whomever it is, they start to resent that pressure, and then they become angry because they become like what they hate or who they hate. But they're not naturally born that way. That's why you see that in kids. Anytime you see an angry child, just know that child has been traumatized by a parent or somebody or something. All right? They were not born that way. So you need to correct the parents. And there's no love in anger at all. None. It's all destructive. It's all selfish. It weakens you. It doesn't give you strength. It's of your father, the devil. And that's why, and what was your question? Why did I think it was wrong?
Yeah, why do you think anger is not a valid human emotion?
It is a valid human emotion, but it's not of God. It's what humans develop when they go into the fallen state. They take on the nature of their father, the devil. So it is a human thing, which is of their father, the devil, but it's not God thing, who you really are. You're made in his image, and God is love. He has no anger inside of him. So there's no power in that. There is no love. If you don't believe it, check yourself out. Everybody who has anger has fear. They have doubt. They worry. They get, they're crazy. Absolute crazy.
Craig asked, I believe it was Craig, he asked, how do you find God? And G asked, how do you love God?
G asked that?
Yeah.
Is he back from Mexico?
It doesn't say.
Are you back from Mexico?
There's still internet in Mexico, Jesse.
They have that in Mexico?
Yeah.
No, okay. So what's the first part?
How do you find God?
By looking within. By getting to know yourself, by keeping your eye on yourself within. Have no excuses. Just whatever you see, let it be, and eventually you will see God. He's inside of you. He's up there too, but he's within. The kingdom of heaven is within. So the way to find God is to know that you don't know him, that you don't have that relationship, and then go within and watch yourself. Download my silent prayer. The silent prayer is at rebuildingtheman.com/church. Get that prayer, download it, and start doing it. It will help you to go within. It will calm you down so that you can find God. He's in there, and he's just waiting for you to come in. The kingdom of heaven is in, so go within. And the way you love God, you want to know, how do you love God?
Yeah.
How do you love God? By seeking first the kingdom of God and his right way, so that you can get to the point where you love him with all your heart, soul, and might, along with nothing else. So what happens once you're seriously seeking God, eventually you will find. And when you find him, he's going to reveal himself to you. He's going to draw you in, right? And when he draw you in, then you're not going to love anybody or anything before him. Meaning that you're not going to put anybody or anything over him. And that's how you love him. It come about by you realizing that you need this and going within and allowing him to do it. And the greatest commandment is to love God with all your heart, soul, and might, along with nothing else. You can't love your daddy. You can't love your mama. You can't love your children. You can't love anything of the world along with God. And so when you love God, then his love is going to work through you to love everybody else. But you got to seek him, and then you'll find that. It'll just happen.
Tupu Tati says, shouldn't you be married if you have children? Doesn't the Bible tell not to have sex before marriage?
Yeah, but I found that out too late. Yes, that's true. But I was a sinner, I was angry, and when you're angry, it awakens your sexual nature. The anger awakens that appetite, and so in that state of anger, it awakened that appetite, and I found myself doing it. But once I got over that anger, then I have control over it. But yes, the proper way is to be married.
Jake Stidham says, Jesse, if we don't have anger, then what do we have?
If you don't have anger, you have love.
No,
right?
I mean, I'm sorry, I messed up. Jesse, if we don't have free will, then what do we have?
You're under control of either good or evil. Whichever God you serve, that's the one that controls you. If your heart is inclined toward good, then you're controlled by good. If your heart is inclined toward evil, you're controlled by evil. Simple as that.
Winston asks, if people don't have free will, then why do we punish people?
Why do we? I don't know what that means.
If we don't have free will, then why do we punish people? They didn't.
Oh, meaning that if people are doing things that they don't want to do,
yeah,
and they couldn't help it, why do we punish them for doing things that they want to do?
Right.
Is he talking about criminals or?
Yeah.
Oh,
whatever.
Because people who are in that fallen state, they need some type of correction. They need the law. They need something to contain them. And so if you don't punish them, they'll go out of control, completely out of control. And so, but if you do correct them or punish them, it's a reminder that they are wrong, and hopefully they'll turn that around eventually. But when you're not following the laws of your heart, you need the law of the land. You need some type of punishment.
Well, this person is saying, his name is Tombstones. I'm a redneck hillbilly. My family in West Virginia has black neighbors out in the country. We always helped each other. Nowadays, the white hate is awful. I think it turns whites wanting to revolt.
Yeah. You know, for the last 27 years, I've been warning white people to speak up, because if you don't start speaking up for yourself, it will turn to hate. And then you'll come out fighting in the wrong way. And then the blacks and others will say, see, I told you white people are racist, white people are mean, because you've overreacted to the situation. It's always best to speak up so that that stuff doesn't stay inside of you and cause you to react in the wrong way. And I'm sorry to hear that, but not surprised, because white people have been accused for everything for so long. They blame them for everything. Like, white people don't have a life, right? They're just sitting around trying to figure out how to hurt someone else. And white people are fed up with that. We saw that with that Dylan boy.
Dylan Roof?
Yeah, Dylan Roof. You know, Dylan Roof, according to the report, he grew up with black friends. And then he went on the internet and discovered that white people are under attack and no one's doing anything about it. And he overreacted and went out and killed some black people. Now he's in prison for it. I saw a little thing where he said he doesn't know what happened to him, why he did that, right?
I think that was maybe his father or family or somebody else saying that.
Yeah, but he became angry at the injustice and overreacted to it and got himself in trouble. So I hope white people drop that anger, speak up before, you know, they start a race war, because that's what your enemies want. They want a race war with whites and blacks.
Chi Day or Chai Day asks, does God get anger or angry?
No. There's no anger in God. There's no anger in God. The kind of anger God has is what we should have, is discernment. We see evil but don't hate evil. We deal with evil but don't hate evil, because if you hate it, you become subject to it. You become like it. So you have to learn we have the authority to discern, but not to judge, not to hate. And then you can deal with it when you see it for what it is. When you see injustice but don't hate injustice, you have the power to deal with it. But if you hate it, then you lose. It takes over your life, it destroys you. So God didn't have that kind of hatred. Christ didn't have it either. He saw evil, he dealt with it, and he went on his way. We have discernment, not anger or hatred.
John asks, Jesse, your honest thoughts on the alt-right, Richard Spencer, etc.?
The first word that come to mind, I love them. Finally, we have white people, young white folks, young white men who are standing up and fighting back. They're not allowing you to push them around anymore. And I like the way that they stand up too. They don't go out and deliberately look for someone to assault or anything. But if you mess with them, you're going to have hell to pay. And it's about time. It's about time they are standing up for America. America first. Why not take care of your home? Why not take care of your home first? America first. And then all the other good stuff that come with it. So I'm happy about it. I like them. I'm like, right on. What's the guy name that he asked about?
Richard Spencer.
Oh yeah, Richard with the president, right? Who? No. Oh, Richard, the leader of this thing, the guy that did
one
this.
of the guys.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't do this, but he said, "Hail victory,
right,
hail Trump."
I love him. Right on. If you're paying attention, Richard, right on. No, I'm glad. I'm glad to see it. I just think that it's about time, because how long can you take this? You know, I believe that the president has given them courage too, because they know that he is for what is right, and he's not going to treat them unfairly just because they're white. So it's good. That's a long answer, but it's good.
Marie asks, if you know you have anger but cannot identify exactly where it came from, will the silent prayer help show you where it's coming from right away?
Yes. Well, I don't know about right away, but you should definitely do the prayer. And if you don't know, it's enough to admit that you don't know. I have this anger, I don't know why. Do the silent prayer and it will be revealed to you. And when it's revealed to you, it makes you free as well. It will be taken away from you. It's a spirit that made a home in you, and it will be taken away from you.
Laserbeam asks, what about the black-only graduation gala at Harvard?
Dumb, dumb, and dumber. It should not be allowed to happen. If the blacks want to have a black-only graduation, go to an all-black university. It doesn't make sense. You're fighting to get into these schools, white schools, by way of affirmative action, not even earning your way. And then you get in, and now you want a black graduation. Well, why are you trying to get in there? They have black schools. Go to those black schools. I bet you white people can't have an all-white graduation. I wish some white kids would stand up and say, you know what? We're going to have an all-white graduation so my mama can come and appreciate it. And see what happened. If it's wrong for white people to do it, it's wrong for blacks. So I say, go to your black school and do it.
Lorraine asks, how old are you, Jesse?
I am older than dirt. There was Jesse, and then there was dirt. I am 67, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Am I really 67?
67 right now.
Yeah, 67 right now.
Going on 68.
Yeah, I'm 67, and my birthday is this month, on the 22nd of May. So if the Lord is willing and the creek don't rise, I'll be 68. That's hard for me to, what I said, I don't believe it. Sometimes I ask for the senior citizen discount, and it feels funny asking for it because I don't feel that way, right? But I could get a discount.
Yep.
Can I get
and you shamelessly do it.
I'm sorry?
I said, and you shamelessly do it.
You see me do it?
Can I have a senior coffee?
Oh, yeah. At McDonald's,
50 cents.
You get a senior coffee, and it's only 89 cents or 79 cents or something. So I'm like, can I have a senior coffee? I think when I fly, I could get senior citizen price now.
Oh,
I'm
really?
not asked for that.
I hadn't heard of that one.
Yeah, I think so. There's something good about being a senior citizen. But yeah, I'm 67 years old.
Somebody asked, and I missed their name because these comments are disappearing. What do you think about the New Orleans Confederate Monuments being removed?
That's horrible. That's our history. And it's nice to be able to travel around the country and see history and see how far we've come and how great this country is. The people who are having those things removed, complaining about them, are haters. They are no good. It's unfortunate that the government and others are allowing them to intimidate and cry racism and destroy our country in that manner. Can you imagine that the next generation that comes along, they won't know about that? They won't be able to go to New Orleans and see history? That's wrong. It's unfortunate that society is weak and giving it to the children of the lie. I wish they had not done that. And if they don't stop, everything will be gone that they don't like. And then they'll put up their liberal, crazy stuff that we don't like, and then we'll have to deal with it. It's not good.
Moxie Girl asks, is bipolar a true condition? If all of our thoughts come through Satan, it seems that he would give us extreme thoughts and medication would make it worse.
I'm not a doctor, so I'm not giving doctor advice, but I am 100% convinced that it comes from anger, and anger opens you up to Satan to deceive you and cause you to feel helpless or feel fear or feel doubt or worthless, give you suicidal thoughts, do all kind of crazy things. Again, I'm not a doctor, but I'm 100% sure that that's where that comes from. And if you can get over the anger, you can get over all the other mess that come with it. So yes, it's due to anger.
Lorraine asks, have you smoked weed, Jesse?
Yes, I did. Matter of fact, in my 20s, I heard that you can, if you're black, that you can get on the government, go on the welfare, and you can go down and tell them that you smoke weed and you're unable to work, And so I'm like, wow, that's cool. And so I ran down and I said, oh, I smoke weed, I can't work. And they gave me $300 in cash a month, free food stamps, free medical coverage. And so what I would do, since I wasn't working, I would every Friday, not every Friday, but most Friday, many Fridays, I would buy groceries, pay my rent, and then have a party on Friday night. Invite my friends over, and we would just party all night off my weed.
Right on.
But I didn't like going out when I smoked weed because the way I got into weed, I was kind of like what James was saying. I was so weak. I let others influence me to smoke it. And when I was smoking, I would become paranoid. And I remember my friends would say, let's go to the club. And on the way to the club, they would pass the joint around, right? And I'm like, look, you guys should not give me this weed because by the time I get to the club, I will be so paranoid, we will not be able to go in and you're going to be angry at me because we can't go in. They were like, no, you're going to be fine. And they would give it to me anyway, and I was too weak not to take it. And by the time we got to the club, I would be so paranoid. I didn't know what I was saying or if I was saying it right. If someone was looking at me, I didn't know why. You know? So I enjoyed weed better by staying home. So that's one of the reasons I have my own parties. But when I got over my anger, the weed desire fell away. I just don't need it anymore.
Mikey 22LR asks, is it okay to sometimes feel disappointed in God?
Well, in reality, you're not disappointed in God. The deceiver, your God, which is the devil, blame your situation on God. Why doesn't God do something about this? Why is God not saving you? Why is God not doing this? And you believe that it's God letting you down when it's really your father, the devil, that's letting you down. Because if you truly believed in God, believe me, you would never be disappointed. That word doesn't even exist. It's just that you really don't believe in him, you believe about him. So get over that and then reconnect with him, and you would never be disappointed in God. He's not going to let you down in any form or fashion. I think we're out of time, right?
I think we might be.
We can add on.
We should add on?
Nice.
Well, okay. This is amazing.
All right,
Isn't this amazing, John?
Yeah.
Wow.
Overeager douchebag asks, Jesse.
Overeater douchebag?
Well, I don't think you're supposed to repeat that. Only I can say that.
Oh.
Jesse, why
Is
do we?
douchebag a bad word?
I think it's a bad word. Yeah, it's a bad
Everything
word.
bad and I don't know it.
You're so innocent.
We had this thing about using God's name in vain.
Right. On
It
the
was
radio
a big
show.
deal. And I had no idea it was a big deal.
Yep.
And it just went on and on and on. It was fun though. But I didn't know that was wrong.
So he asks, why do we believe in God?
You don't believe in God. Because if you believe in God, that wouldn't be a question. God is our Father. He loves us. He created the world and everything for us. And he created us so that he can create love through us. And so, we were created for that reason. So he loved us first, so we just kind of love him back. We are here for his ego.
Here's an interesting question from Ashley Hopkins. James, for me.
Good.
Are you really never seen Jesse get angry about anything? I've seen him ask me confrontational questions that make me mad, and I accuse him of being mad. And he does get aggressive and go off on people, but I can't. It's not really for me to say whether he's angry or not angry, because as you wait and watch and calm down, especially if you're mad, you realize that you're the one who's angry, and you don't know if he was mad or not. So I can't answer that question. I've never seen for sure that he was angry about anything.
They asked some of the disciples about Jesus being angry, right?
Yeah, people say that
Jesus never said he was angry, but when he went in and turned over the table thing,
people make that assumption.
People said he did it out of anger, because angry people don't know that you can take strong action without being angry. I can yell at people, I can correct people, I can do it all, and in all honesty, I feel nothing inside myself toward those people personally. That's why as soon as I'm done yelling, I can go, we can start back playing again, having fun. But the person I'm yelling at might get angry and take them a while to calm down. But if I had anger, I wouldn't mind telling you that I had anger. I didn't know that you can overcome anger until God took the spirit away from me. It wouldn't make sense for me to deceive people and pretend that I don't have anger. What good that's going to do me? I'm telling you that it's possible so that you can know that it's not of God. It hurt you and everybody and everything around you, so that you can know, oh, I can overcome this stuff, and that you're not stuck with it. Who want to live an entire life of anger? And then once you leave your body and you're going through the white light, thinking that you're going to heaven, and you see, wow, I could have lived without anger. I don't want you to wait until then to find out.
And actually, there's another point where Mark, I think, wrote in the Bible that Jesus looked around at the Pharisees or somebody with anger, grieved at their hardness of heart, when he said, is it good to heal on the Sabbath or something? And they wouldn't answer. And they said that he looked around in anger or something like that.
And judged the man and where he looked. Because Satan told him, look, he's angry.
But that's what the apostle wrote.
Yeah.
So maybe that's shorthand for the way that he was looking.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I can be looking and people like, what? 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 I'm like, nothing.
Man, some of these comments are disappearing faster than I can get to them.
In the meantime, while James is doing that, because we are coming to an end here, again, I want to remind you, what am I supposed to remind you of? Let's see, don't tell me, I can find it here. Oh, we need your support, folks. Donate to the fallenstate.tv. Oh, good, yeah.
We can go another 20 minutes. There's a lot of questions and comments.
Oh, really? Okay. Donate to the Fallen State. Buy the merchandise that we have on the Fallen State. See the shirts? And isn't that nice? We have black ones. We have white ones that look like his face. And we have coffee mugs. See, you just picked one up. And on the back it says, did you have fun? I always ask my guests that at the end of the interview or the discussion. And all the money we get for these things go back into the nonprofit. All right? So please help us, and thank you for those who are already supporting it. What else? We have our annual Fatherhood and Men's Conference coming up on June 17th. And this is our 8th one. I can't believe it. And believe me, we're putting together I'm not putting together. Ernest is, the PR guy, putting together this is going to be the best one. And if you'd like to come, the tickets are $25. It's a fundraiser as well. And if you can't make it, we're asking that you sponsor some other young men who would like to come but don't have the money, all right? So you can go to rebuildingtheman.com and buy the tickets or make the donations. They're somewhere over there. Right, Ernest?
Yes.
Yep.
Rebuildingtheman.com. All right? And it's for boys 13 and over, for men from the age of 13 all the way up to 113. All right, so go there, buy a ticket, help someone come if you're not making it. Be sure to click the bell to subscribe. Tell them about that again.
Okay, so I've told you once already, but you can subscribe. You push the subscribe button, but there's also a bell next to it that turns on notifications, which means push notifications, or maybe even emails if you turn on the emails. But you'll get notifications every time we upload a new video or go live on the live stream.
If you push the bell. Mm-hmm. You got to push the bell. The bell is new.
It's not that new, but it's somewhat new.
It's pretty new.
All right.
How new is it?
Several months.
All right.
So one more question, at least one more question. Christian is asking, can children be traumatized or turned angry? I forget the question now, it disappeared. In the womb.
Yes. Children can be traumatized in the mother's womb if the mother is angry about being pregnant, or if she's mad at the father because he's not around, or she's mad at her parents or the way that they treated her, if she has that anger inside of her while that child is coming through her, that child can absolutely be traumatized because there is no love in that. There's nothing but hate. And you will destroy that child's innocent spirit because the innocent can't handle that hell. They're not grown and they're not strong enough to deal with it. So absolutely. So if your baby come out looking like a monster, just know that the mother was mad. God didn't do it. The mother was angry and she did it. Her anger did it.
Audrey, I think that's how you pronounce this person's name, asks, how do you overcome self-doubt and fear?
By overcoming anger. Really, I'm telling you, that's a good question. When you see self-doubt, fear, insecurity, suicidal thought, judging yourself and your fellow man, overeating, and doing drugs and all that come from anger. It is the children. Those things are the children of anger. So you have anger, then you have these babies, which are the spirit of fear and doubt and worry and insecure. But when you get rid of the anger, then you have perfect love, and perfect love casts out fear and everything that comes with it. It all disappears. So let the anger go, and I'm telling you, self-doubt will disappear too. I had that at one time, so I know what it means. It will disappear when the anger leaves.
Tyler Long asks, Jesse, should we love or hate Satan?
Don't love or hate him. Just don't. You see him as what he is. He's evil. Don't love or hate him. Don't have an opinion about him. Just know it's evil and deal with it.
Lars asks, why is it a sin to have sex before marriage but not after? I mean, sex is sex, the act in itself.
Why is it a sin to what?
To have sex before marriage but not afterwards.
Oh, I see. Well, because when you have sex before marriage, you're under the umbrella of your father, the devil, so you are automatically attached to one another, and then that becomes like a drug of choice. Once you have you noticed that once you have sex with someone, you want them, you think about them, and if they don't treat you right, you become angry. They control you without even trying. And so you have no way out. And so what you end up doing is finding someone else to have sex with, to feel good. But under the umbrella of God, you get married, then you have sex. You still go through that somewhat because you need to be in that fallen state to have babies and things. But once you have all the babies that you want, you stop having sex so you can return to your natural state of being. And under the umbrella of marriage, which is ordained by God, you have a way out. But out of wedlock, you're not under the umbrella of God and you have no way out. So that's why.
Pulse Neutrino asks, Jesse, do you disagree with hate speech laws? Thank you.
Yes, I disagree with that. I think people should have the right to say what they want. It's up to you how you take it. So, and if you are free from the world, you're in it but not of it, you won't be bothered by hate speech. How are you going to stop someone from saying what they want to say? Just don't take it personally. So yeah, I disagree with that. And the problem with the so-called hate speech law, they go after the good folks and not the bad ones.
Yep.
You notice that?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I disagree with that.
Tom is asking, Jesse, what do you think of Milo Yiannopoulos?
I respect his courage for standing up and fighting for what is right, for the country and what is right. So I respect him. I don't know him personally. I've never met him. But from what I've read about him and seen, and watched him on different news items and things like that, I respect his courage a lot. I hope to interview him one day on the Fallen State. I would love to have a conversation with Milo. He seemed like a very interesting guy.
Nostradamus Pyratus asks, do you have a solution to the fatherless America?
Yeah, and we've been working on that solution for the last 27 years. We get men to repent, turn back to their father. We counsel and tutor them. We also have a entrepreneur academy where we're teaching boys from 15 and up how to start businesses. I've gathered a bunch of businessmen, and we come in and they answer the questions that the guys have about any aspect of business. They have to do the work, but we are showing them what to do and how to do it. And because I believe men should own businesses. And I realize everybody can't, but man, when I was growing up, men had businesses. And so I believe that. So we have an entrepreneur program. We also have, within that program, we have a credit union where we are able to loan the guys the money for their business, and then they pay it back with small interest, so that, because a lot of them don't have credit, so we provide the money for them through our credit union as well. So the best way is to get them to return back to their natural state of being. That's how you do it. Tell them the truth. A lot of men don't know that it's anger that's holding them down, that they hate their mothers and grandmothers and they become like them. And because they have been made to believe that they should love their mothers, and but they don't love them, they hate them. They have that emotional love, which is not love. But once they forgive, then they can love in the right way.
Umaneda Kid 19 asks, someone said Jesse was slow in the head. Is he?
Yeah. Yes. Slow in the head. I'm surprised at what Jesse's doing. Believe me. When I went to high school, you see my high school graduation picture?
Yep.
A sight for sore eyes, huh?
What's that mean?
You saw I had this big head and my graduation cap just only went here?
Oh.
You didn't pay attention to that?
No, I didn't notice that part. I mean, I guess, yeah, it kind of did. Yeah, that cap thing, it was a little. But I mean, those fittings fit odd.
Oh, they do? But I used to be smart in school when I first started out, and then something happened along the way, and I was no longer smart. And I just went to basketball games and parties, and I would go to school. I remember once I had a true and false test to take, and it was going to be on a Friday, and that was a game. Oh no, that was another time. But I can tell you this, it was a test on a Friday. They had a basketball game that Thursday. Normally they don't have the games on Thursday because of tests on Friday, but they did it, and I went to the game, and my friends and everybody was saying, Jesse, you should not go. You need to be trying to study for the test. I went to the game, I had so much fun, and I took the test on Friday and got an F. And everybody knew I had an F. I was like, I don't care. I had fun last night. So, no, I'm not that smart at all. Believe me, I'm not. I really am not. And so it's okay.
Raven Wolfgang asks, how do you feel about homeschooling a child?
I'm for it, 100%. As long as the parents have sense. You know, they know how to do it in the right way. I'm totally for it. I've met some of the smartest, decent, homeschool young folks that you ever want to meet. They're still standing up for what is right. They don't have that fear. They haven't been traumatized by the public schools, going through all that stuff. So I'm 100% for it. I'm getting tired. Can we stop? My throat is dry.
Okay, last question.
I'm hungry.
Last question. Did you have fun?
I did. It was a blast. It was really, really good. This is our first time we're going to have to do this again. And thank you all for tuning in and asking your questions and making your comments. It was really, really nice. I don't take that for granted. Yeah. I didn't know how this was going to turn out. And so I am getting tired. I'm ready to stop. So let's make some more announcements, James.
All right.
Do you have the same announcement I have?
No. Oh, yeah. I mean, I can look them up.
Support us by donating to the Fallen State TV. Every time we get goes back to the to make the show happen and to the nonprofit. Purchase our merchandise. Everything goes back. This is the way we keep the thing going, all right? Season 5 will launch on Wednesday, June 7th. Make note of that, Wednesday, June 7th. And if you have any suggestions, anyone you would like to see on the Fallen States, or if you are a very, very interesting person and you would like to be on, we would love to have you on. We really would love to have you on, all right? So let us know. Also, tell them about the clicking thing,
Okay,
the
so
bell thing.
so not only should you like, subscribe, share, and all that, you should also click the bell, which turns on notifications. When we get a new video, you will find out about it right away. You'll get a push notification to your smartphone, which is good. You want to be among the first, and then you can be the first to comment, possibly.
I do want to thank you all for watching. I'm telling you, it's because of you that the Fallen State is so successful. So everybody at the Fallen State, thank you for that. We have just a great team. The producer goes out of her way to make this thing happen, and I'm grateful for that. And the engineers, the guys that do all this stuff, all the lights and all this stuff, I'm grateful to them as well. I want to remind you to subscribe and share these videos with everybody and their mama, all right? And I want to close by saying that there are two ways of seeing things. You either see by darkness or you see by the light. And to me, even doing what we're doing right now is absolutely amazing to me. You know, just think about this. I grew up on a plantation down in Alabama. There were 18 people in my class, graduation class, and I know I heard other people say that, but I was literally number 18. And I have a cleft palate and a hair lip, don't speak clearly, don't speak English that well, and I'm not smart. And yet, God saw fit to forgive me for my sins, return me back to my natural state of being, and allow these things to happen through me. And I'm fascinated by it. I really am. I'm fascinated about being able to see human nature and how wicked human nature is because of that fallen state. I'm fortunate that I can see all this. It's mind-blowing. And I tell you all this because God doesn't care if you're black or white, male or female. He loves us all. Just, he doesn't love us the way we are. He wants us to change. That's why he sent Christ, right? But he wants you to come back home to him, return to the Father, so that he can do great things through you as well. He wants love to work through you, his love. And so if this had happened to me, and this is nothing compared to the peace I have and the insight, the ability to see, that's more important than this. This came about as a result of that. And I want to urge you to drop your anger, forgive, apologize for hating people. And if they don't apologize to you, that's fine. You will go free. You will return to the Father, and your life will work. And don't take anything personal. It's not that important. There's not one thing on earth that should get you angry. If it's so important that it can make you angry, let it go, all right? And you'll start to see great things happening in your life. Peace will come. You will see clear, because I didn't know you could see another way, but you will see clear, and you will start to have a real life. You will be in the world, but not of it. And you will be in a place where God will put an invisible bubble around you where nothing can get to you. You have compassion for the people who hate you. You love your enemy. You tell the truth. So I have a fascinating life. I never could have planned this. I wouldn't have thought of this or anything. But it's in all of us to do his will. But you got to let your anger go. Because if you don't, you're of your father, the devil, and he's not going to let you in. It's just not going to happen. Good and evil cannot dwell in the same place. So he's not going to let you in. So don't let anyone convince you that anger is of God, is of your father, the devil. God's nature is love. It's a solid foundation. All right? So thank you again so much for tuning in. It's been more than a notion. You want to say anything?
Nope. Thank you.
Thank you for helping me out.
You're welcome.
Oh, real fast, tell them about the radio show, how they can listen to the radio show and all that good stuff.
All right. Jesse is live 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific time, 9 to noon Eastern, 8 to 11 Central, Monday through Friday. And so tomorrow he'll be on Thursday, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. And you can go to listen to that live or watch it live on jlptalk.com. And on jlptalk.com, that's actually his jesseleepeterson.com. You click on the radio show tab. And on that, you can see the different ways to listen. There's a listen line where you can dial a number, say you're on the road, or you can download the app. People like to use the JLP Live app. Sometimes people like to use the TSL app. Various ways to listen, and you can also call in. So you don't have to rely on YouTube live chat. You can call in and talk with him. 3 hours a day.
Anything.
Yeah. Especially Fridays. Totally
any
anything.
day.
But any day is fine. Yep. Especially if it's a good, serious question that's bugging you. Yep. So do it.
All right. And again, thank you so much for tuning in, folks, and telling folks about the show. Thanks for your support. This was fun. I'm just tired. I'm hungry. I haven't had breakfast yet. And we went on for a long time. And how long did we go? Like an hour and a half almost.
Almost.
Yeah, that's a long time to be talking. My grandmother said, if anybody started talking that long, they lying. So it's time to go before I start lying.
Yep.
Thank you for tuning in, folks. And thank all you guys who made this happen, all right? Bye.